Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today I'm going to be checking out Detective Comics issue 1090 by Tom Taylor and Michael Janin. Taylor finishes up his fantastic run on Nightwing and drops into Detective Comics to start a brand new Batman mystery, and it very much is a mystery as we are dropped en media res into Batman dealing with a hostage and a new villain, whom the hero has quickly angered when he tries to call Oracle for assistance. This new villain, who has a very scarecrow-like design, especially in the needle-like gauntlets it has on its hand, reveals that the man Batman thought is dead is actually alive, only because Batman has to see this, since the villain caught the man for Batman since he deserves to die. Interestingly though, the villain knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne and implores him not to make the same mistakes as his father. And thus we're off into our new mystery, which takes us back a few decades where we pick up the story with Thomas Wayne, a retired on-call doctor who was called into action when a young man and woman are rushed into the hospital after a car accident, with the woman being pregnant. I'm really liking how we're just kind of dropped into this mystery by Taylor, and it's a very tantalizing one, going all the way back into Bruce's past with his parents, as a masked villain who knows who Batman really is. Lots of exciting stuff to explore. Thomas, who is eager to get into surgery, is told that he needs to see the female patient first, discovering that some of the injuries that she has occurred before the accident and are signs of domestic violence. Despite finding this out though, Thomas, thanks to his Hippocratic oath, is obligated to perform surgery on the woman's husband to save his life. Until now, it's never really dawned on me that Bruce very much is honouring his father by upholding his own Hippocratic oath. I know later on in the issue he does mention that he never specifically took a Hippocratic oath as Batman, but I like that he's honouring that memory. And Batman has never, he never kills, he sets out to save lives and try to make them a bit better, not take them. And it's a cool extra layer on top of the standard getting vengeance for his parents' death and the death of others that I know is probably really obvious to some, but it's something that I like is being explored here by Taylor, as it's really shined a light on it for me, and it's kind of added that extra layer on top of Batman's whole mission for me. After the surgery, Thomas meets with the woman, Evelyn, who delivered her baby while he was working on her abusive husband. Evelyn says that he hopes that he will tell her husband that she lost the baby, since he is a criminal and an animal and his child deserves better. To remedy this, Thomas calls in his wife Martha, who thanks to her work with adoption and foster agencies can help out Evelyn and hide her and her daughter. Interestingly, Martha also questions Thomas's oath, citing why this man deserved to be saved by him. And it's here we get the moment where this lesson is kind of imparted into Bruce, as the young boy overhears his parents talking in the living room, and after dodging Alfred ends up seeing them, and Thomas decides to teach his son a lesson, telling him that if he can save a life, then he has to, since life is valuable. In the present, Bruce, as he's out as Batman, thinks about this moment and also thinks about how he might have saved his parents, and this is something that has been in Batman comics for a long time now. Batman thinking about how he could have been there to save his parents, both in sort of a sort of metaphysical way where he thinks about like how things could have been different, to literal, physical changes, like where there's been time travel shenanigans where he's gone back to try and fix his parents and try to save them, and that's never worked out very well. And I like that there's so many different avenues you can explore this concept through, and most comics have done that to death pretty much, and here it doesn't really seem to do much in terms of like something new, but I like that it's breaching that subject to kind of bring us into the storyline a little bit more. Hearing a gunshot, Batman responds to a robbery of a convenience store where a kid has shot a store owner. The kid didn't mean to and actually ends up trying to call an ambulance as Batman arrives, taking him down with a quick slap. As Batman disregards the young kid, knowing he's no threat and is just someone who made a mistake so he can help the victim and stop his bleeding. Of course, Batman is prepared, and he actually placed a tracker on the kid when he slapped him and later goes after him. Learning from Oracle, the kid's name is Sam Kristoff, and he's a juvenile offender whose family has a history of violence and abuse. Bruce tracks him to a nearby storm drain, wanting to find him quickly as the storm that's kicked up around Gotham will flood the drains very quickly. I thought it was interesting that Oracle doesn't think that Bruce can actually track down this kid, and it's made a real point, and it comes back a little later on in the issue, that Batman is getting on in age, and he's still very fast, but he's not as fast as he used to be, and with, you know, the armor he wears, the cape, and, you know, everything, he's even slower than a child who's just running in fear. And Bruce understands that. He understands that, yeah, I'm getting older, and it's not something that he can actually prevent. Still though, Bruce refuses to give up, and luckily Sam stops moving ahead of him, and Batman soon finds out why, finding Sam has been killed by someone who wanted him dead. Someone who wears a specific white musk perfume and leaves no trace of any sort of fight or anything with the victim. I'm loving Taylor's first issue has lots of Batman doing detective stuff. The book is literally called Detective Comics, but I like that Taylor is kind of borrowing that and just like making Batman the detective again, and it's so cool seeing both this and the Zdarsky book doing different aspects of Bruce's world's greatest detective moniker and kind of treating it like that is a core part of the character, since a lot of Batman books kind of forget that he is like a world-class detective. A lot of them just focus on the fact that he just beats up thugs and not actually work crime scenes and stuff like that. This Batman though does feel a little bit more serious and focused on the mission compared to the Zdarsky Batman, whereas that Batman is focused on the mission, but there is this weird sort of like adventurous feel to that Zdarsky Batman. I can't really put my finger on it, but this one feels like it's a lot more serious. Batman knows that this murder is the newest in a series of killings that have all had the same MO, and he feels especially responsible for this one, since if he hadn't have hit the boy, maybe he wouldn't have run into the sewers and been killed. On top of that, Bruce feels like he probably could have gotten to him a lot faster, but he's still a little slow in his old age. Batman can't stay at the scene though, as Bruce Wayne is needed elsewhere at a party held by Scarlet Martha Scott, the child that Martha and Thomas Wayne helped hide from her abusive father long ago with her mother Evelyn, who we saw at the start of the issue. Scarlet wants to show Bruce something that she's been working on that could change his and everyone's life. And I like that Bruce feels an obligation to Scarlet, as we find out that Scarlet has been part of Wayne Tech for many years now as their chief geneticist before striking out on her own and running her own sort of wellness center for the rich. Bruce and Scarlet go and meet with Daniel and Gina O'Malley, two more Gotham billionaires who Bruce is quick to notice somehow look younger than when he last saw them a few years ago. Bruce being in two modes at the same time, you know, the Batman mode and the Bruce Wayne mode, is very fun, and I love him going over everything that's happening around him. He's taking it all in, noticing things that other people weren't, knowing things that other people won't either. And there's a great piece here where Scarlet talks to him about Sangreal, which is another name for the Holy Grail, and while Batman knows that, Bruce Wayne wouldn't, so he kind of has to play the dumb billionaire here and kind of act like that he doesn't know what she's talking about, when very clearly he does. Now this kind of clashes with the Zdarsky Bruce Wayne a little bit, since Zdarsky writes his Batman as kind of the billionaire playboy philanthropist thing, but he still feels very educated and well read in what he's talking about at any given moment. He's not just like a big dumb jock character, where this one feels like that. You could argue that Bruce is playing it up a little bit more since he's with the other billionaires, so he's just trying to outdo them a little bit, like just to really throw them off the scent that nothing's up with him. But it just feels a little bit inconsistent between these two books. Scarlet knows what Sangreal means and reveals it's the name of her new miracle drug that seemingly extends life, and she has just secured some funding partners and is going to make it a reality. However, this drug is very expensive and she knows that it will be out of reach of most people, and she kind of gets a little villainous here where she basically just outrightly says to Bruce that rich people should only get this drug and people like Bruce deserve it because they are worth better. They are like worth more in life than other people, other poor people, quote unquote. And like Bruce immediately in his head is like, nope, that's not good at all. And but he won't say that because that's not really what Bruce Wayne would say. Scarlet offers him a vial of the stuff and Bruce briefly considers taking it, especially after Oracle's comments earlier about him not getting any faster. Man has had moments like this in the past, and they even mentioned it here where he's had access to things that could technologically advance him and make him, a better version of himself, but he never really goes through with it. And we have had moments where he has, and it's led to some terrible things. Like we've seen him have superpowers, use technology to advance his bat suits and just eyes on Gotham, and it always ends really badly. Case in point, stuff like Failsafe and stuff like that, where that was specifically made as a deterrent for him, but also to make him a better Batman, and it just failed spectacularly. It's also very interesting to have someone like this new character Scarlet give him this, because Scarlet, new character. We also at the start of the issue have a new villain, and you put two and two together, they're the same person more or less, unless there's some big twist. I'm gonna assume that these two are the same people, that villain and Scarlet here. So she knows who Bruce really is, and her offering him this drug is like her giving him a chance to continue to fight crime. And maybe this is her way of kind of repaying the Waynes for helping her family when she was a baby, since now Bruce can fight crime, effectively forever. And this is her sort of gift to them. We aren't shown Bruce's decision on the serum as we return to the past, where the husband of Evelyn demands to be let go from hospital after the surgery. Thomas knows that his surgery was a success and the man's facial burns will heal, and while he should stay for observation, they cannot legally keep him there against his will, and they'll have to let him out. Taylor rounds out the issue with one hell of a twist in the story, in that the man Thomas Wayne treated and helped his wife and newborn son escape is none other than Joe Chill, the man who would eventually shoot and kill both Martha and Thomas. This is such an awesome twist, as Thomas's oath made him keep the man who was going to kill him, made him save the man who was going to kill him, and the connections to the main storyline are cool, as Scarlet is effectively Joe Chill's daughter, and I wonder if she knows that, or is why she is working with Bruce. Like, she sees Thomas letting Joe live as a bad thing, and if he didn't help him, he would still be alive and be spared, and the world would be spared less violence. And it's a fascinating avenue to explore, and this could also sort of speak to the villain's motivations, because the villains at the top of the issue said that this person doesn't deserve to live, and we don't know who that person was yet, but I could see it's something similar to that, where this is Scarlet trying to, as I said before, help Bruce not have to make that choice again, or give him the chance to actually continue to fight crime forever and continue on his mission to honor his father's oath. Tom Taylor's debut on Action Comics started a very cool story exploring the Wayne's past, a new villain, and a Batman that might be getting a bit too long in the tooth. While there is a few minor inconsistencies with how Zdarsky is writing Bruce and Batman over in the Batman Ongoing, the story is very engaging and one I'm very much looking forward to diving into in the next issue, now that we have all our key parts of the mystery there to explore. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.